Are you looking for affordable land? Today I'm going to show you our 50 plus properties, all of which, or most of them, come with owner financing and are priced affordably. And we're going to do our Would You Buy This segment where we go over a property that's listed to see if we would all buy it. So here's the schedule. First, I'll cover our free land giveaway and property updates, so what's just been listed and what's coming up. We'll do the deal of the day, and then we'll do our Would You Buy This segment and wrap up with a fun fact and a free gift. So before I get into our giveaway or our free land giveaway, I first want to say for anyone who's joining today, Abby usually selects a listing that we will cover, but if you have a particular listing that you would like us all to look at, just put it in the comments and we will take a look. So we're here to review properties if you have a property you're interested in. All right, so for those of you who are not familiar with me, my name is Erica. I have a company, Gokce Capital, and I buy and sell vacant land. You can find the website at gokcecapital.com, and all of our listings you can find by clicking Buy Land or going to land.gocap.com. Now, I will note, I'm not a real estate agent. I do only sell properties that my company owns. So these are all, for the most part, for sale by owner. There are a few that are listed with a realtor, but a lot of these are for sale by owner. That does also mean that we offer owner financing on all of our properties. And as you can see from the map here, most of our properties are in North Carolina, South Carolina, Florida, New Mexico, Colorado, now Nevada, and New York. And we have currently 67 properties for sale. So let's take a closer look at the table to see what's going on today. Our New York and Georgia properties still remain very popular. And what else is popular? Probably our Castilla County properties. So we do have properties in New Mexico that are bargain picks. And yes, our Castilla County property continues to get a lot of leads. Castilla County, Colorado seems to be very popular, but actually Socorro County, New Mexico is popular as well. So we did just list a number of properties in Castilla County, Colorado for those who are interested. And we also just listed 2 properties in Elko County, Nevada, and 1 in Pamlico County, North Carolina. And you know what? I forgot to do the free land giveaway. So let me do that quickly before we cover our deal of the day. So we are giving away a free property on January 1st. We'll be giving it away live here on the YouTube live stream. So we're really excited about that. And it's actually not just a property. We have a bunch of other fun goodies that we're giving away with the property if you win. So check this out. You can watch the full video on the YouTube channel. It covers all the details of the free land giveaway. I'll also note that if you refer someone and your referee wins, you get a prize package as well. So if you refer 100 people, you have 101 chances to win. So we're very excited about that. It's also very easy to join. All you have to do, or participate, all you have to do is leave a comment on the free land giveaway video, so not this live stream, but the free land giveaway video, letting us know why you're interested in free land and if someone referred you, and then go to our website and subscribe. So go to subscribe to email. And this is so we can keep you updated on the free land giveaway. So do those 2 things and you're in the running for free land. And we'll be here on January 1st to pick the winner at random. It'll be a lot of fun. All right. So back to our properties. We did just list a couple properties in Elko County, and I know we were actually covering for our Would You Buy This property in Elko County property yesterday, right? Unfortunately, we had a little bit of a snafu with the live stream, but I'll cover one of these Elko County properties today. So this one is 2 acres. Now, Elko County is, let's zoom out. It is northern Nevada, and we're just outside of the town of Elko, which would make sense because it's Elko County. And the Interstate 80 is to the south. Now, the property itself has access via a dirt road. You can see that there are a fair number of homesteads in the area. Case study. Ooh, we're going with New York today. Exciting. All right. So we do have a number of homesteads in the area. This seems to be a popular spot for homesteaders. Now, this would be an off-grid situation. And I believe in Nevada, just like in Colorado, domestic wells are exempt from water rights, so you can drill a well. But I would confirm that with your research. We will have drone footage soon. And like I said, this would be an off-grid situation. But it is a nice sized lot, 2 acres, and it has good road access. And there, as I mentioned, there are a number of homesteads in the area, so a number of people are able to make living and building in this area work. And we have priced this at I think a pretty affordable price. It's $8,499 plus the $595 document fee. And because this is for sale by owner, we do offer owner financing. So I will say we will tailor the owner financing terms to meet your needs. Just let us know what kind of down payment and monthly payment will work with your budget, and we will come up with terms that make this property affordable for you. We also don't have a minimum credit score requirement. So if your credit's less than stellar, don't worry about that. With owner financing, we do also offer our 365-day exchange guarantee. So if during the first year you find another property that works better for you, we list a property later that you think is a better fit, you can exchange one time in that first year and apply all the payments you've already made to a different property. You just have to pay another document fee. So this way you can be secure that you're actually able to get the property that works best for you. And before you purchase, we do also offer a hold option. So you can take the property off market for 2 to 8 days. So you can do your research, and that hold fee does get applied to the purchase, whether it's this property or another one, as long as you purchase within 30 days. So all of these terms are designed to help ensure that you can get the property that really works best for you, and you have time to do your research. Because as we all know, due diligence is very important. Okay. So let's look at today's case study. And Abby, you'll let me know if there are any issues coming up with the live stream. I think we solved the issue from yesterday. Oh, and before I do this, for anyone who's listening now or later, I'm going to put this in the community post as well, but the next 6 days, I'm going to have to take a break from live streams because we'll be going to a conference, and I don't think I'll be able to sneak out and set up a live stream. So just FYI, but I'll be back next Saturday to continue. All right. Let's look. Oh, this is not over $1 million. No. Cheaper than what you normally pick, Abby. It's 63 acres, though. That's quite a large property for New York. So let's see. Oh, it's 2 lots. That's what it looks like. Oh, that's it. Not too many photos. Okay. What do they say? Commercial zoning. You like to pick commercial properties. Minutes from Turning Stone and a neighboring 64-acre resort, RV resort family park. So I'm guessing they'd be selling this as another RV park. Ranging from restaurants, hotels, resort campgrounds, some wetlands, so we'll have to check that. So it says the buildable section's about 34 acres. We'll have to take a look at this on Land ID. Cable, electricity, natural gas, high-speed internet, water, sewer. So all the stuff is available. And we're in the Verona area. Okay, and let's look at price history. So no price drops, but it has been on the market for a while, although I know commercial properties can take a while to sell, so that in it of itself is not a game changer. Wetlands. Yeah, we'll have to check out the wetlands, how much there is. All right. Where is the, there we go. Region Verona. I'll just search by address. They have a virtual tour. Oh, you are right. I don't think this is the right property. But let's look at the virtual tour. Where did it go? Yeah, that didn't look like it worked properly. They have 3 virtual tours. Let's see. Audio. I think these are just the photos. Is this different? Oh, well, it was almost the right property. So, oh. Okay, let's see. Assessed value 90. There is a easement that cuts some of it. It doesn't have too much road frontage. That would be my big concern, especially for commercial development. And yeah, the area right off the road also has wetlands, so it looks like you could only develop back here, most likely. So this seems like it would be kind of a tricky lot to develop. Not a lot of road frontage and a stream right at the front by the road. But I suppose you could do something like a campground. It's flat. Yeah. This would probably not, should we look at it in Google? I think it would be difficult, maybe not impossible for commercial development, but you have to go through the whole wetland mitigation process, plus worry about potential flooding. Yeah, not a lot has been, is this the RV park? This might be the RV park here. So you could do something like that, potentially. Where do the wetlands cover? Let's see. So yeah, the wetlands aren't down here where a lot of the existing buildings are. And there is commercial development over here. Okay. Yeah, well, that's the main concern with this wetlands. You're either just going to be restricted to back here and maybe another like RV park campground. See, these guys managed to work around the wetlands. This is, oh, it's owned by the federal government. Is that correct? So what is this? Interesting. Soil report, okay. I'm getting distracted. Yeah, what is this? It's owned by the federal government, but it looks like a campground. Yeah, I didn't have to look at that. Okay, here's the soil. It is wet, as we might expect being near a wetland. But it does have public sewer, it said. Although if you're going to build back here, you would have to extend it across the property. So that might be costly. Oneida Heritage Sales. What is this? The Villages of... Is this something else? It's not saying what this is, but I'm curious because it's owned by the federal government, supposedly. Have to look more into that. It's an RV park, I'm pretty sure. Is that this? Yeah, RV park. It looks like a nice place to stay if you have an RV. And it is in the Adirondacks. I have to say the Adirondacks are beautiful. We need to go back, Abby. But it's weird. Why is it owned by saying it's owned by the federal government? That's weird. Unless it's like a lease situation where this is, for some reason, federal land and then they're leasing it to the RV park. That's very strange. But yeah, so, I mean, on the sample parcel we're looking at though, I mean, clearly the issue is the wetlands. As we see with this neighboring property, you might be able to do something like another campground. I don't know, maybe you could talk to these guys and see if they wanted to expand. Yeah, it's possible. Maybe this is new. I don't know if they say when they... Oh, it's the Oneida Indian Nation. That's why it's owned by the Oneida Indian Nation. So that would show up as federal government land, because technically a lot of tribal land is owned by the federal government. Okay, that explains it. So that would be another thing to look into. Is this property tribally owned land? Because probably not if it's for sale on the open market, but that could have implications. Like, I doubt it. I doubt this is reservation land, because you can't actually sell reservation land. But if it is, yeah, that's going to have implications for the kind of deed you'd be getting. Do they still have to pay taxes? I don't believe so, because the land's technically owned by the federal government. So, no, this looks like it's just owned by the Oneida Reservation, and this is part of. I think this is part of one of their casinos, actually. So it's a like tribal business. That's why it's showing up as owned by the U.S. government. But yeah, so what do you mean you have no idea what I'm talking about? Who's paying who? No, we're talking about that nearby campground, not the property that you actually highlighted. But the land is owned by the reservation, and the reservation also owns and operates the casino and the campground. So it's part of the casino that the tribal nation runs to generate revenue. Does that make sense? Okay. So we can move on, but I think the main issue here, of course, is the wetlands. So you're going to have some complications trying to develop that property unless you want to do something. Reservation, it's an Indian reservation, an Indian nation. It's owned by the Indian nation, the Oneida. And reservation lands will show up as technically owned by the federal government, because they're held in trust for the reservation, for the Indian nation. Does that make sense? So it's actually owned and used by the Oneida Nation. It's reservation land. Not the property you initially listed, but this RV park that I went down a rabbit hole on for whatever reason. So, yeah. Okay. So just for some background, a lot of land that is tribal land, so reservation land or owned by Native American tribes, is actually legally owned by the United States government and held in trust for those tribes. And that's why reservation land often cannot be sold, Yeah, I mean, they would need like I believe it's we can do I can do a little more research on this, but I believe they would actually need like Congress's permission to sell the land. They can't just sell the land that is theoretically theirs, because it's technically owned by the federal government and controlled by Congress. That's like a whole can of worms can go down. But it's owned by the federal government, so like to sell, because sometimes reservation land is sold. I know that there have been some instances of like now private property that's within reservation territory, and that's because they got permission from, I believe it's from Congress. There's probably some congressional committee. I'd have to look it up. I didn't ever like research the exact process. And they can get permission to sell it, but you can't just like put it on market and sell it. But in this instance, the tribal government would run the businesses that are on this land. Who owns the operations? It would be the tribal government. So it's probably going to vary from Indian nation, Native American nation to Native American nation. But yeah, I'm guessing most of the time there's going to be like a committee or a elected body that governs use of the businesses. I can look it up and cover it in an upcoming live stream. Or I can just ask ChatGPT now. Why not? So ChatGPT says, probably not, although, I mean, maybe. So Native American, so yeah, another key point which maybe we didn't make clear for anyone who's not familiar with how tribal government works. Native American tribal nations are technically sovereign governments. So each tribe governs its own businesses through its own governing structure. So there's usually like an elected council or regulatory body. So it works like most typical state or city governments work. You still have an elected body. They're in charge of governing everything that's owned by the tribe. To expand their operations, I mean, maybe. I'm not sure what they would have to do to purchase land. And then, yeah, just for a little more context, the federal government, it's technically the Bureau of Indian Affairs within the Department of the Interior. Okay, so that's the actual committee that would be responsible. But they hold most tribal land in trust. So there are some things that require federal approval before the tribe can do, like sell land. But the businesses themselves are usually they have a special corporation, Section 17 corporation, I guess. It's a federally chartered corporation under the Indian Reorganization Act. And those corporations are allowed to operate like private companies, but they are under they operate like private companies, but they're owned and run by the tribal government, right? So that elected body. Well, yeah, they'd have to pay cash. No, the question would just be, they probably need to go through some like federal approval process, I would guess. But yeah, we went down a big rabbit hole here, so we can quickly look at comps. Okay. Not too many larger parcels of land that have comps here. Let me put on a filter. Because I think the land would actually be held in trust by the federal government. Well, if we want to continue on this. Yeah, we have to subtract the wetlands portion as well. I mean, sold comps are significantly less, but it can be tricky to comp commercial land. Oh, okay, so you're right. If a tribe buys land, a tribal government can buy land like any other buyer. They don't need federal approval, but the land is then subject to state and local laws, and they'll pay property taxes. So they'll just be like any other landowner if they buy private land. So there you go. I mean, theoretically, maybe you could reach out and see if they wanted to purchase the property and expand their existing RV park. Yeah, and we want to reduce the size, like 10 to 50. I mean, so yeah, the sold comps are clearly less than the listing price of this current property, but I mean, it's important to note that there are not too many comps. We're not really digging into them to see if they're relevant because commercial properties can be kind of tricky to comp. I think, though, I mean, the key here is just the wetlands are going to pose a challenge depending on what you want to use the property for. So, you'd need to be prepared for that and look into the process of potentially going through wetlands mitigation. Also look at, I think, the road frontage to see what you could develop on this property, given that it has a small amount of road frontage. So yeah, a lot of things you would need to consider if you wanted to seriously develop the property as a commercial property. Okay, yeah, we went down a big rabbit hole there. I'm sure we lost a lot of people if anyone was watching. Fun fact of the day. So we have, yes, I wanted to show one of the strangest properties. Now, I don't know if this is actually one of the strangest properties, but it's interesting. Alexandria, Virginia has a number of spite houses. Now, this picture doesn't really do it credit, but you can see here, this house is actually only about 7 feet wide. So it was built supposedly entirely to either spite the neighbor or, in an alternative version, to stop people from dumping trash in this little segment here. But only 7 feet wide, so interesting house. And Alexandria, Virginia actually has a couple of these properties that were built not so much because they make ideal houses. And yes, someone does live here. In fact, I believe that it was the daughter of the original builder who moved in. But now, yeah, it is a house. You can live in it. It's just small. See? 350 square feet. So it's basically a studio, but technically livable. And there are a number of spite houses like this around the U.S., but Alexandria, Virginia has a number of them, maybe due to its unique development. There happened to be a lot of these really tiny infill pockets where people ended up building what we call spite houses. Yep, so tiny house before tiny house was a fad. But it's also an example of how, with a little bit of creativity and some spite and maybe a big wallet, you can make very unusual lots or difficult lots work. In fact, when I worked for the New York City Housing Department, the program that I helped run for a while was designed to try and develop, they weren't quite these small, but some of these small infill lots that had remained undeveloped over the years because they were challenging and small, but now New York City needs housing, so trying to build them. Well, the thing with really small lots like this is it's actually often a little more expensive per square foot because you're so constrained, right? And you might need to do some like unique techniques because you can't get you can't get your construction equipment in all the way. Access can be challenging, things like that. So, okay, fun fact of the day. And can you make a tall building that then? Yes, I'm sure you can. Actually, let's see, what is the tallest? The challenge you're going to have with something like this is a staircase. Because if it's only like 7-8 feet wide, a staircase is a little over 3 feet. And that's then going to take up a huge chunk of the interior space. There is a very skinny building, only 5 feet wide in Pittsburgh, but it's only 3 stories tall, so not tall the way you're thinking. 8 feet is generally going to be too narrow for really tall buildings because, again, you're going to have challenges with stairs and definitely with an elevator. Once you're starting to get tall enough that you really need an elevator in there, you're going to need more than 8 feet in width. That fits one person at a time. I mean, I'm sure with enough creativity and enough wiggle room around existing building codes, you could figure out a way to make it work. Almost anything is possible. The question is whether the building department will allow it and you can get it to meet code. So. All right, yeah. So that was quite a rambling episode. I think everyone's gone at this point. But yeah. So that's it. If you want to see all of our properties, they are bigger than the Spite House. Some of them are small, but none are that small. You can go to land.gocap.com. View all of our properties. And as I mentioned, we will be at a conference until next Saturday. So the next live stream will be a week from now and the following Saturday. So I'll see you all then, 2 p.m. Eastern, and have a wonderful week.